everyone, it's Sam here. So I thought I would do a video showing you how I colour. It's actually something I get asked about all the time, and nearly every time I do a Facebook Live and there's any colouring involved, people always ask if I would do a video. So I have got quite a few colouring tutorials already up on the channel, but I guess I've never really sat down and just talked through the process on how I colour. I never claimed to be a colourist. It's just the way I've taught myself. I imagine if there was some professional colorists that watched me would probably think I'm doing things wrong, but it's my style and it's what I enjoy. So that's just what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to show you the blending solution that I really like to use, talk a little bit about the inks and the pencils that I'm going to use today, and then these images I'm going to be using on a card, and I'm doing a separate tutorial for that. So this is just going to be me colouring these images in. So I tend to always go for coloured pencils. That's my preferred colouring medium, although I have slowly started getting a bit more into my alcohol markers again because I've got the Tri-Blend brush pens by Spectrum Noir, and I'm really liking them because they've got that fine brush tip. But I do love my coloured pencils, so that's what I'm going to use today. So I have a mix of mainly Arteza and Black Widow. I also have some of the Faber-Castell Polychromos and also the Derwent Inktense. But the Inktense ones I've got are the watercolour pencils. So mine are just in here. These are kind of the ones that I'm going to a lot, so I've just taken them out of the cases that I have them in. I also like a gel pen. So I've got my Jelly Roll, the Sakura ones here, and a black fine tip is always handy as well when you're using your colour pencils, just in case you miss any areas or you maybe gone over them. You can always, you know, fix it with a black fine liner. So I'm going to be using the blending solution here. This is Zest It. I like this one because it's odourless, but there's loads more now out on the market that are odourless. This has got a lovely zesty smell to it, and it's perfect there to blend your pencils, wax pencils and oil pastels. The image, in case anybody's wondering, this is the Daisy Mae at the salon, and it's these two lovely ladies, and then you get a few sentiments there as well. I'm actually using the whole 7 sets that were in this launch for my 7 best friends who are all turning 40. So first of all, I've just been thinking about the colours that I want to use. Now, Claire does have images on how she colours up on her channel for the stamp sets, but I couldn't really find many on this particular set, apart from one of this lady, this image here that she's got on her Facebook page, which is Daisy Mae Stamp Designs. So I'm going to kind of just use that just to give me a rough idea, but I always tend to then go off however I want. Now, my friend who I'm giving this to is a hairdresser, so that's why I'm doing this card with these images, and she always has a black gown that she puts on us all, so I'm going to stick with that. Claire's actually done like a cream white coloured one, but I'm going to go for the gown in black. So I always keep a piece of scrapped card next to me in the same weight. It's the same card that I've stamped onto. This is a smooth card stock, so I've stamped these images using the Versafine Onyx black ink. This is perfect for the detail stamps. It says here, captures fine details like no other, and it is brilliant. This one's also great to use with your watercolours as well. If you are using alcohol markers, there's loads more on the market, but these are some that I have. So you've got the Memento ink, and you've also got this hybrid, which is great for both alcohol or coloured pencils or watercolour pencils. But like I said, I've stamped this one today using the Versafine here. So I always like this piece of cardstock here, like I said, and it just means I can kind of prime my pencil. If it's, you know, just been sharpened, I always like to just flatten a side there. You always want to work in very light circular motion. And then if you go in lighter, you can always then apply darker over the top. If you go in very dark and you start to get, if I do an example here, this is how we used to colour in school when we were kids. We'd colour like this. And straight away you'll see there that there's a bit of a shine just coming out there. That's what they call wax bloom, and it's a build up. And I mean, it can look nice in some ways. It can create a nice effect to your cards, but you can't, it's very hard now to be able to apply more colour onto that. So you always want to start off light. Some people like to go in with their darkest colour first in their shaded areas. I always lay down my lightest colour or the softest colour first, and then I build up that way. That's just my preferred way. I always say to people, there's like the basics you can learn, but the rest of it's down to your own personal style. I like a lot of highlight in my images, other people don't. and I'm not too bothered about the light source. I kind of make it up where I go. So, you know, as you evolve with this, if maybe you just found my video and you start colouring and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I love this, I'm really enjoying it, go and check out some really amazing colourists on YouTube. I'll link a few people that I like to watch in the description box below, and they go into it in a lot more detail and I guess tell you more rules and things like that, but we're not really going to do that today. So very lightly here, I'm just going to focus on this gown, and I'm just going to apply. It doesn't look like it probably looks like I'm just colouring from left to right, but I am doing very small circular motion. Also, make sure the surface is smooth that you're colouring on, because if you find that you've got maybe any kind of dirty surface, like if you're in your craft space, you might have some glue stuck to your mat or something. If you go over that with your pencil, it's going to pick that up and it's just going to leave a mark and it won't look very nice. But there you can see there, I'm just very lightly applying that grey. Now this is charcoal, actually this is the A12 charcoal colour. Now the reason I've gone for charcoal first, because this lightest colour is actually going to end up becoming my highlighted area. So I've got the charcoal, but then I'm going to bring in the black. So let's see here, I think it's this one, the Noir A012. Again, just going to just get that how I want it. And then I always tend to think of my light source as just coming right down from the top. So when we mean light source, we mean the direction where the sun's coming, or the light. You might be doing an object and you've got a lamp on it, which angle is that lamp at? So if I had my light source coming, say, from the bottom right hand corner here, all of this is going to be very, very bright. But everything kind of behind will be very dark because the light's not managed to get to it. But that's when it can kind of get a bit complicated, I think, when people start talking about light source, especially if you're new to colouring. So I always tend to just do mine as if the light source is directly above me. So imagine the camera I'm using now is the sun or the light or whatever. I've actually got two lamps either side of me and they're just, bringing the light all in. So there's very little shadow, which is great for when you're filming. So with that in mind, I'm just going to always do my darkest colour all the way around each piece. The more you colour, the more you'll start to understand it. And when you just look at something like even the pot I have in front of me now, if I bring this in a little bit here, right down the bottom here is very dark. You can even see the shadow. But up here is very, very light because all the light's hitting it. That's what it means. So just to hopefully help anybody there that was maybe a little bit unsure. I'm just going to grab my pencil here, and I am now almost burnishing. I'm putting it down very heavy because I know I'm not going to need to go over this anymore. And as I come out into this space, I'm almost flicking out the colour, like a little, very lightly. But again, I'm going to go over those kind of little stitched details there. I'm not too worried about that staying in. But Claire her designs are fantastic. Go over the edge there, don't worry too much. We can always get rid of that. It's the beauty of coloured pencils. You can erase quite a lot of it, and we'll be going over it anyway with more colour. So I'm just quickly going around there, but can you see already where I've kind of softened that there? But this has got that harsh line. So you just want to start working it out into this area. I'm just going to move my pencil around a little bit there, but I'm just bringing it out. Now, it's up to you how far out you pull your colour. So I'll come out a little bit more there, but I don't want to go right into the middle. I want that to stay with this original charcoal that I laid down. Now, when you go nearer other objects, this is all going to be quite dark because the wine or bubbles there will be casting quite a lot of shadow. Her hand will create shadow all behind here. So I'm going dark again, just all around these parts, right in the fingers there, and just pulling it out. All down here, and just start to pull that all out. And you're aiming to just have it as a very nice fade, just that kind of perfect blend. Again, all around here. Like so. Okay, and I'm quite happy with that. So I've got this nice highlight here. Now some people might want to, you know, get rid of that and not have it as highlighted as I have. But that's just how you can colour very quickly. That's just using 2 pencils, and I'm not using any blending solution, but I do want to use the blending solution for the rest of this drawing. So I am now going to apply it to this, but then I'll do the rest of the colouring and it'll be much, much quicker, because where I showed you before where there was that harsh line around here and I hadn't blended it, the blending solution will do that for you. But I just wanted to show you that way of doing it without the solution if you don't have it. So I'm just going to tip a little bit of this into the lid. Also, I'd zoom straight in because I figured you'd want to see this close up. So here's the solution, and then we're going to take one of the blending stumps here. You also, I mean, I got these from Amazon. Some companies just sell the blending stumps, but you want to get it with the sanding block as well, because there'll be a build-up of colour. For example, this one here, I just move that out of the way. So this has got some pink on it. If you've got lots of blending stumps, then you might find you don't want to really kind of do this with them, because you can just dip it in with the same colours, a bit like your blending brushes and things like that. But if you just, this is just compressed paper. But now you've kind of got that nice and fresh again. You want to keep the point on it there, and then you can just rip these off. You've got lots on there, but that one's a bit thicker than what I want at the moment. So you're just going to dip your blending stump in there. You can see it lifts all of that liquid, and then you just go in here and you just colour it. Now what you will find is it may go and it will really pull your colour out. So you can see there it's just intensified that colour. So I don't want to lose my highlighted area. So I'm just going to, I'm dissolving the pigment. And you'll get this kind of granulated effect. Sometimes you'll get it even more depending if you've got a smooth cardstock or not. If your cardstock's not too smooth, then you'll see even more of that kind of granulated, of those kind of granules in your cardstock. But this is kind of drying. If I just use this to kind of dry it out a little bit, and then I can get that kind of lighter effect. So just focus on all the darker areas. Just get rid of some of that because I don't want to lose it there. But can you see now we've got a very different look, but it's much smoother to what it looked like before, but I've still got that highlighted part there. For me, I probably want that a bit lighter, but I wanted to show you the two kind of ways on how, you know, how it will look, whether you use the blending solution or not. Going forward now, we'll start by not blending it like I did. We're just going to use the solution. So we will now move on to her skirt. So I'm thinking let's have her wearing a teal coloured dress today. Or no, I think it's a skirt and a top. So I've got this, that's a bit too much. Let's go, where's my favourite teal colours, I think. Yeah, so that's the darkest one I want, and then I need a lighter. There we go. We're going to go for these two here. So I've got the ocean blue with the deep teal. The ocean blue is what I'm going to lay down first. So again, very lightly all the way over. Now when you're using the blending solutions, you can actually be quite quick. You don't have to be as precious, so because it's going to move this colour all around for you. So just quite quickly there. I'm not too worried that I don't get to all the corners because we'll do that with the brush. So what I'm now going to do is go straight in with the blending solution and dissolve all of that colour, because you can build up on top of this. So I can go back in now with the darker colour. But you can see straight away it's kind of doing all the work for you. Like so. Now do give it a chance to kind of dry. So I'm just going to leave that for a second. And then with the darker colour now, you've got all these kind of, it's almost like she's pulled her skirt up over her knees. So you've got all these kind of wrinkles and scrunched up pieces. So I'm going to, again, go in quite heavy. All up those kind of creases there. And just go all the way around the outline again, as if that light source is coming straight down from above all the way around the newspaper there. And then all the way up around all in there. It's going to be quite dark in there anyway, like so. And then again, I'm going to take my blending stump, and now I'm just going to go back over that like so, and that's it. I'm not going to go in anymore. That's it, it's done everything I needed to do. But the nice thing is if you do think you've lost any of that darker colour, or you do want to just go in a bit more, then you can go right over the top of this. And I tend to go back over a little bit at the very end when I kind of look at everything, if I feel I want to get back in there a bit more, like so. There we go. Okay, let's do another larger area. Let's do the chair, because there's a few areas there. So let's have her on I'm going to do a brown chair, like a nice leather. It's almost like a Chesterfield style chair. So let's go for, yeah, I think we'll go for these two here. So again, I'm just going to go in quite lightly. I think there's another, I can't work out. That must be part of the dress, but it looks like it can't be, but maybe I'm just not seeing it the same way. I'm just going to grab my fine liner, just join up that bit there. I feel like, I don't know where that bit is, because you wouldn't see the back of the chair there, and her legs, otherwise her legs look like she's floating. So I'm just going to go back in with this very dark teal colour just in there. There we go. Right, so now I'm just going to, again, very lightly add this colour all over the chair. Okay, I coloured her heel for some reason, thinking it was the legs at the back, but then I realised it was there as well. So, but her shoes will be, the heels will probably be black anyway. So you can see, again, I just laid that colour down. So we'll grab our blending stump. I'm just going to take, in fact, I'll use that one which had the black on. Let's just get rid of some of that colour. There we go. And the blending solutions will last you for such a long time as well. So again, I'm just spreading that all out. Be careful when you do get nearer to another colour, because it you know, you may end up pulling some of that colour into the other area. So just take care around those parts. Just dissolving, just melting it in a way. Now I've got my darker one. Again, I went in quite light with the solution there, so it's probably fine to go straight over the top with. So I'm just going to go very, very dark in all these areas here, because there would be no light getting into all these little cracks. And again, where she's sat, if you were ever sat in your chair, right down by the side of you, be very dark. So it's going to be very dark there, all around her arm. And then I'm just going to leave it there, because we're going to pull it out with the blending solution. I don't actually use blending solution a lot. I'm more just doing it freehand, which is why I keep wanting to kind of bring more colour into the rest of it. But you don't really want to go that heavy with the solution, because it does pull it out quite a lot. But again, just down the legs here, all around the bag, right in there. I won't put solution in that bit, because you don't need to worry about all that. And around there as well. And then all up around her neck, like so. And then get my stump. I'll let this dry out afterwards and just sand it. And then I can just, you almost want to flick the colour out, just to get rid of that harsh line. Just little flicks. You can see what a difference that makes already. Again, all around here. we go. So I've not touched any of this, but it just gives you a little bit of definition. And then if you did feel like you wanted to go in with an even darker colour, I mean, you could even add black, but you want to get your darkest brown really. So I've got dark chocolate brown here, so I could then go back in. If you start to see shine, that means you've really laid down quite a lot, so you don't want to go in with any more really. But just a bit more in there, that'll just give you a bit more definition, and it will lift your highlight even more. And if you felt that you had lost some of your highlight, that's when you could use your gel pen. I'm going to go right around here and make that very dark actually. You don't see it on that bit, but I think just flick that out a little bit more again. There we go, just a little bit darker. Yeah, I think that looks really nice. Okay, so next I want to do a top. I feel she needs some pink here, and then I might do a pink handbag to match. So we'll go in quite light. Let's see. No, that's not right. I do have like little pairs that I like to use together. Yeah, it's those two. We'll go with those ones. So we'll lay this one down first. So I'm going to keep her cuffs white. So it's like she's almost got a blouse on underneath, maybe like a pink sweater. So a little bit of pink there. And then around there. So that will stay white, the collar. And then let's go in. I've got all different stumps here. These attach to this here, but I just use it this way. So you've got much pointy ones there, just very lightly. You need the smallest amount. I'll be very careful here because I've got that black right next to it. There we go. And then I've got that darker pink. So I'm going to go in all around the edges there. Like so. Pull the rest of that colour out in a moment. And then around the gown and down by her elbow is going to be very dark. And under the cuff there as well. It's only really that part that's going to be quite highlighted. And then I can just flick that out. You're just dissolving, again, that darker colour. I get very lost in my colouring. Again, if you've watched any of my live craft alongs when I colour, I tend to go quite quiet. I just find it so relaxing. And once you find your style and your way of colouring, it's really enjoyable. And I can quite happily sit here for a few hours, which I am doing. I'm just chatting along the way. So, but yeah, I think that will do. I'm not going to go in any more with that. Now, if you ever want something to be white, rather than just leaving it completely white, add a bit of grey to it. Now, the shade of grey it depends on the kind of image really. So say you were doing like a snow scene and you had the polar bear or you had the snow itself, you'd want to go for more of a cool grey, more of like a blue grey. And I've used that before on Christmas cards that I've made on my channel. But when you want more of a guess something like this, just like clothing, then I'd go for a bit more of a warmer grey. So I've got a couple here. Yeah, this one here, this is a warm grey. So I'm just going to add just some around the cuff end there. I think that's probably it, and a little bit around the back of her neck there, and just bring that forward. And I'm probably not going to use any blending solution on that. I'm just going to very lightly just pull that out into this area. But I guess if you were doing maybe like a faux fur trim on some clothing on a scene, then you would want to do the cold grey as well. So it's just down to personal preference really. But you can see there how that looks. Again, whether that's coming up, you know, in the camera, I'm not too sure, but okay. For the magazine, well, I'm going to think of it more as a paper. It'd be easier to colour. So we'll leave that till the end. Let's now do a hair colour. So let's go for, I'm going to do is like a dark blonde colour. So I've just got this one here, so I'm just going to go all over. Just all around like so. And then, yeah, that was the lighter colour actually. This is the darker, so I might just bring this in. I'm not going to worry too much actually. I can just go in a bit darker. Let's just blend that and then I can add a little bit more to it. So I'm going to use this one here, which has got a similar colour already on it. Let's just get that all dissolved. Okay, and then I'm going to go in this with the darker one, the original one again, but just on her kind of parting there, I'm going in much darker. Again, I'm not going to apply the blending solution into here because it would just, you wouldn't see all this definition, this darker colour. I'm going in quite heavy there, all around that kind of hairdo that she's got. I think that will do, quite like that. Okay, then the skin tone. So I'm actually changing pencils here because I really like the ones in the, this is the Monarch ones, which is by Black Widow. They've got the skin tone colours. They also do have them with Arteza. But to be honest, I've mixed a lot of them up. But yeah, this one here, which is the fawn, I personally really like. So I'm just going to very lightly again, just go all over and on her hands and all over her face there. And then I'm going to again blend that. So let's grab this one here. Again, you probably can't really see this too much. Again, I've caught a little bit of the blue there, but I'm going to go in much darker with this fawn colour in a minute. So where I've gone over the edge there, but I'm going to, you should start to see some of the colour now. So just on her knee there, and then all in here is going to be much darker. Coming down her leg. And then again, all around her shoes there, that's going to be much darker. And her ankle, in fact, all up this kind of side of her leg, because this leg that's crossed over is kind of causing a shadow, and then there'll be a lot more shade under that part of the leg and down there as well. Something like that. And then try and get rid of some of that black where I went over the edge. So again, just most of her hand here. I'm just going to be a bit heavier handed with the colour there. And around there as well. And then all on her neck, under her hair. And then what I'm going to do is come in with a little bit of a pink cheek, quite a brighter one. So just do a couple of little circles there. And then I can always blend that out if it was a bit too heavy. Like so. And then a mouth, I'm actually going to use my highlighter here. I just want to, I'm going to just go over the eyes a bit more, bring back, because you can sometimes dull the outline of the stamped image with your pencil. So I'm just going to bring that back in. For the earrings, I think they need to match her top. So I'm just going to go in with a much darker colour there. And in the handbag, I'm going to do the same colour as her top. So again, I've just blended that lighter colour, and then I'm just bringing this darker one. The strap would be very, very dark. And around the side here. And then again, I can just kind of flick out all of that darker colour. Like so. And then I think the shoes are going to be the same colour as the skirt. So, I mean, I don't want to make this too difficult for myself. Keep it quite easy. And then I'm going to do, I think, some of the detail on the bag in the same colour as well. So, and we'll do black heel just so I can get rid of the little mistake I made there. So again, let's grab the original. It's just that same way that I've been doing all the others. I'm going to use a fine liner for the heel. Again, just make it easy. Sometimes it's good to bring in a bit of that black again because it just lifts it. Claire is she's an amazing illustrator. She hand draws all of these, and her colouring, she does a lot of the no line colouring with her Copic markers. She's just amazing to watch. And again, she has done some wonderful demos on Craft Stash, Craft World, showing you her colouring. But yeah, I encourage you to go check out her Facebook if you really want to see some gorgeous coloured images. And that's her style, that's her signature style. That's what, you know, if I saw something like that, I'd be like, I'm sure that's Claire's. So that's, you know, it's you developing your colouring and then having your own style. Okay, now I want to add a bit of yellow. It needs a bit of a brighter colour, I think, for the drink, the sparkle. So I'm going to add quite a bright yellow there, and then I'm going to go in with a little bit of a browny colour just to dull it a little bit, but initially I do want it to be quite bright, like so. And then I've got this one here, which is just more of a, this is a turmeric, so it's just going to just bring that down a little bit. There we go. Let's see how Claire coloured the top of the, so she's done that as like a creamy colour. I'm going to go with like a grey colour, like metal. So I'm going to bring in the pewter along with the grey that I used on the white, which was the dolphin grey. So I think I'm going to have a little bit of the dolphin grey just on the sides here, because that's going to be clear glass, and underneath that bit there. So we'll pull that over in a moment, and then I'm going to do all of this is just going to be like it as if it was chrome. So we'll do all that again with this dolphin grey. So let's blend all of that like so. And then with the darker colour here, I'm just going to go all around the edge there. And this is like a metal trim. So we'll go right over. I'm still in shot there. Sometimes I forget I'm filming and I'm just talking to myself. And then along the top, all the way around there. Again, just bring it up around that trim there as well. And then we'll just go back in again with that blending stump, just to soften that harshness. Just flicking it all. So just back with that charcoal, and then just do a little bit of black. Just pull that in like so. Now I think the buttons on her cuff there need to be gold, so we can pull in a little bit of that same colour that we used on the drink there. We need to finish the newspaper, which is going to be grey, so I'm just going to go in again with the dolphin grey all over everything. I'm not going to use the blending solution on this. There's all the detail with like the script there, so you don't need to. And then with this pewter colour, I'm just going in quite dark all around here, kind of the spine, middle of the paper there, and just flick that colour down. And then it would be quite dark again down here. Just a little bit of highlight just there, and then in between the pages would be quite dark. I think that's enough. And then I need to do a little bit of detail on the bag there. And I just want to go in, I feel I've lost a little bit of the darker So this is just going over it with my pencil again, just pulling that down. I'm going to go right the way around with that darker colour. And by bringing in the darker colour again, it makes your highlight pop even more. So if I had another darker teal colour, even darker than the ocean blue, let's have a little look. I think this one is even darker. If you've got 3 different colours, dark, medium and light, by going in with that darkest colour again right into these cracks, it brings that highlight, it just lifts it even more. And this is just, you know, this is like finishing off the image because this is pretty much done. But hopefully you can see how much more that's lifted. And again, with her hair, I could bring in a much deeper brown colour. I've got this hazelnut here, just a little bit right in the hair parting there and all around. Just the smallest amount, and sharpen your pencil if you want to really just get a tiny little bit of detail, not much, but it just, again, it just lifts all of those highlighted pieces even more. Just bring a little bit down here behind her ear, but hopefully that's just brought the hair, you know, just brought it up a bit more. And then probably what I will do when I go to make the card is I will use glossy accents all over the glass, which is this lovely stuff here. So I'll bring that all in, and I will also pop some on her eyes, maybe even on her mouth, and in the drink for the water there as well. The water, sorry, the champagne. Let's just bring in a bit of colour there, and also that grey onto the glass here. And then we need to add a little bit of bling onto there. And what I'm going to do is use my yellow just to flick off a bit of colour there. And then I'm going to use grey, just a little bit of that dark pewter, nice and sharp. Just want to do just a little bit, and then just fade that. So it's got a little bit of a highlight, but I'll put some glossy accents on that. And just by doing a little bit of yellow there, it just kind of draws the eye to her showing off her new piece of jewellery, or she's newly engaged. But yeah, that's what I would do. I've just shown you that's what I do when I have a lot of my images prepped. That's what I've done to get the desired look. I'm going to do this one next, but I'm just going to put it all on high speed with a bit of music over the top, because I'll just be applying the same techniques. So yeah, just enjoy this last part now of me colouring this image. So that's the finished images. Just hold this one up. I've also added the glossy accents. You should be able to see some of the shine. I've popped it on the ends of her shoes, the beads, and on her glasses there. And then you can see I've covered all of the hood there and the glass and her ring. I think they've both come together really nicely. So they're going to be this way on a, I'm thinking it's going to be a double easel card. I want them looking at each other, and I think it's going to look quite nice displayed like this. So it's going to be a larger card, but I think it's going to come together quite nicely. So I will link that one into here once it's gone up, because the card will go up before this video, but all the information will pop up in this video, or it'll be linked in the description box below the video. So yeah, I hope this has been helpful. Lots of you have been asking, so it can be that video now that I can just direct people to. So the main thing is really is just having some fun with it. Don't rush it, and find a style that you like. So whether it is using the blending solution, personally I prefer my colouring without this, because that's just, I like to see the grain of the pencil, and I just prefer that way of working. The blending solution, I wouldn't say you lose control, but you don't have as much control. And I just prefer when I use my coloured pencils on their own, I get much more of a highlight, which I really like. But I still am very pleased with these. It just gives, this gives your pencils a much smoother, or your coloured image, should I say, a much smoother and softer, I guess, look. But yeah, there you go. So I will maybe do another video in a few months without using the blending solution, and just maybe it can be like a little add on to this one, I guess. We'll see. But let me know what you think. Maybe I'll do one using alcohol markers later on as well, because I've got lots of Christmas cards to make now, and there's going to be lots of colouring involved. So yeah, I can just film that process before I start making the cards. But thank you for watching as always. I'll link the stamps in the description box below if anybody likes them. Check out the rest of the collection, because it is, like I said, Daisy Mae, I have quite a nice amount of her stamps now, and they're just always a joy to colour. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the card that I make with this, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.